We're at the Outsiders Ball in Salt Lake City. I'm Michael Roberts, executive editor of Outside Magazine, and today I'm sitting down with Frank Hugelmeyer, the president and CEO of the Outdoor Industry Association. So Frank, I have a few questions today about your own personal experiences with the outdoors and where you think we're going. When you were a kid, what was that one experience or those handful of experiences that really sparked your own passion for working and playing in the outdoors?
I was very fortunate when I was a youngster. I grew up in Long Island back when it was pretty rural. It had not been heavily developed. And so the outdoors, the outside of my house was an enormous playground. We had a lot of woods around us. We had bikes that our parents provided us, and we traveled all over as a family and as young kids playing. But I think if you ask about what was the most memorable aspect of that period, it had to be living up in a beach community like we did. My parents would take us over every weekend to Fire Island, and it's one of the great playgrounds in America. Incredible surfing, great fishing, and we literally lived in shorts, and that was it. And we'd swim all day, we'd surf in the surf, we'd go fishing, we'd go crabbing. I just remember every day. We used to even live there for weeks at a time on our boat that my parents had turned into a camper. So we were sort of an early RV camper, but on a boat. And just the love of the outdoors, the fresh air, the open exploration that came out of that. I was so fortunate. Not everyone has that today.
Yeah. It's quite an adventure for a young kid. What about the people who influenced you, maybe the people who got you on a path that led you to a professional relationship with the outdoors, or someone who mentored you as a kid in a specific sport?
Well, there were two of those, I would say. First, it was certainly my father and my parents, but my father was a great outdoorsman. He would take us to the beach, that mentorship to the entire family. Everyone is an outdoor and pursues an active outdoor lifestyle in my family. And they do a wide variety of different activities, and it all harkens back to that time of constantly playing outdoors, the open free play that we had, and then my father constantly introducing us to new and more exciting experiences and great adventures, particularly if we were going sport fishing on the boat or whether we were playing on Fire Island like I described earlier. I think later in life, it was peer groups. My college roommate came from an area called New Paltz, New York. New Paltz was one of the three major climbing areas in America. The Gunks. And I lived in New York City right out of college, and he and I started an adventure of exploring that activity together. We were skiers together, paddlers, but it was climbing that really got me on my path, both personally and professionally, that's extended this long into my career, and today it still continues today. I'm finding new experiences every year.
Well, the way you describe both those things, your experience on Fire Island as a kid and then later as a climber in the Northeast, they seem like they came really organically to you. These opportunities presented themselves and you took them. Now we face different challenges in reaching today's youth and getting them inspired to be active and outdoors. So as someone who's at the forefront of this in the outdoor industry, what are we supposed to do? How do we reach these kids and get them to find the passion that you found for the outdoors?
Well, I think that it's important to understand the fundamental change from maybe 30, 40 years ago that helped build a great industry to the dynamics and the demographic shifts and the challenges that are happening now. If you look at 40, 50 years ago, 70% of America was urban, rural, I mean. And the comfort with the outdoors was incredibly high, and 30% was urban, suburban at that time. That has completely shifted in our lifetime. So the experience that most Americans have now is in an urban, suburban environment. Their comfort with the outdoors and the outdoor lifestyle is not the same or not as high as it used to be in those old days. But I can tell you one thing, our research shows that once you introduce somebody to the active outdoor lifestyle, particularly between the ages of 6 to 18, they will do it for the rest of their lives. That's regardless of demographic, regardless of where they live, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their economic status. So if you get them introduced, they'll go on a lifelong journey of meaningful experiences. So the key piece that we have to do, the connective tissue we're missing right now, is how do we build the urban mentor chains? I got introduced by my father. I got introduced by a friend to climbing. How do we create those mentor chains within other communities, with urban environments? That's the critical piece that right now the industry hasn't been built in that format, and that's the fundamental disruptive change that we have to lead.
You really clearly identify a big challenge. I hope we're all up to it. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.